What's going on, guys? This is Justin with Vanguard Armory Sabers, and today we've got something really special planned. We are doing the official unboxing of the new Flame by Saberkraft. And joining us today is my friend Sean Hauser, who is a fellow classmate of mine at college, and we are both going to we're both doing the manufacturing technology department, so we're both machine shop students, and he is a fellow saber enthusiast as well. And so I invited him to be a part of this unboxing video, so we have like a fresh insight on it, so someone to share some fresh opinions and just make it more in detail. So thanks for joining us, man.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so
pleasure to join.
Well, I'm glad to have you. So I've always been a huge fan of Saberkraft. They have shown insane R&D in their products, quality in their machining finishes, and overall I've just always been impressed with their quality. And as you can see, I've got some of their other products on display, like their Iris Mount Pro and regular Iris Mount Saber Clip, and of course the classic Saberkraft Big Boy, which still to this day one of my favorites. But the thing about the Flame is it's their latest saber, and they have gone insane with their design, and they've released some awesome sneak peeks. And the coolest thing about it is with the newest addition to our saber community's technology is the Proffie board and the Teensy based platform and smooth swing motion sensitivity. And so the saber is set up to accept those types of boards, as well as being already set up to accept NeoPixel blades. So that's a really cool thing that they have incorporated into their design. So without further ado, let's get into this unboxing and see what they've come up with. So first and foremost, I mean, just look at the handwriting. Even their handwriting is quality, man. I mean, check that out. It's all pretty. Nice. Isn't that nice?
Even two-tone.
Yeah, it's two-tone. Alright, so I got my handy-dandy surgical scalpel. X-Acto knife. So we're gonna...
It's always like Christmas, just
yep.
seeing what's underneath.
Alright, so here we go. So
looks like good packaging.
Oh yeah, very good packaging. Everything is nice and tightly mounted and secured.
With some extra bubble wrap.
Yeah.
Never have enough bubble wrap.
So they even stenciled on the Saberkraft to the tube. So, boop. So we have a bag of a lot of extra parts, which we'll kind of just give a once over. Oh, and it looks like they included LEDs, some NeoPixel strip for some of the PCBs. So we'll go over that in a second. But this is it. Oh man, I'm excited. All right. Wow.
Nice.
Oh my gosh.
I like the finish.
So, wow.
So you got your switches up there.
Yep, looks like we have our kill switch right here. It's kind of stiff, but I'm sure that'll get worn in. And then we have our basic on and off right here.
I want to
hold it.
Slip it around back. That crystal. In
yeah,
the
look
back.
at that crystal chamber.
I love that crystal chamber.
Oh my gosh.
That is a nice.
And the one thing that I've always really loved is their use of radiuses. Like you can really tell in some of the features in here. Like all their corners are radiused and chamfered. There's no sharp edges.
Even coming in back here on the end on those angles, those aren't easy to.
That has got to be the coolest pommel design I've ever seen. Like they've outdone the Big Boy, and I don't think that was going to be possible. Yeah. And then I love the multiple like shroud effect on the emitter.
Is that you could actually see the blade through there, so you'll have light coming through there.
Yeah, and we got our twin set screws for blade retention, so things will be very, very sturdy. Oh, I'm just blown away by this. Another cool thing too is you'll have your USB port access right here, so you'll use that for charging. And Jeremy Hall of Acme Sabers, who is also going to be uploading a review video of this, he is going to have a really cool way of setting up this USB port to not only charge through any USB charger, but also configure the Proffie board through its USB port as well. So I'm very anxious to learn what you got in store for us, Jeremy. And then on top of that, for people who are using like plector-based soundboards, we have our exposed rice port right here. And so I'm sure with a little bit of modification that can be used for a recharge port possibly as well. But let's untwist and see what we got. So one thing that I did hear from Saberkraft is they updated their Saber thorax chassis system. And so we have a first look right here. And it looks like, in a way, this will slide out, but it looks like there's going to have to be some tooling involved. But looks like the Saber thorax has covers this time for the soundboard, so it goes completely all the way around, as you can see there.
Yeah. Then you have some copper pipes coming down
to
give some nice style.
Yeah, so you'll be able to fit your battery in there. Then you got your speaker obviously mounted in the back. I'm wondering how... So it looks like this is attached. So if I know Saberkraft as well as I know, this should slide forward.
Or not.
Yeah, well, this is the first time I'm playing with this thing, so obviously there's going to be some learning involved. But look at the details. Look at the details he put, like the little areas. And I think this actually is another kill switch right here. So I'm kind of curious what this switch is right here then, or if that's So if it should slide out.
Yeah, it looks like it's in the dovetail there, so it should slide out.
It's a new spring, so it's obviously going to be really tough. So one thing I'm curious about is what custom stuff we could possibly do for the grip, because while I like the overall sleekness to it, I feel like a little bit of base rubber grip should be down here, but that's obviously just my personal opinion and personal taste. I honestly think that this is an insanely well designed saber. I'd still need to figure out how to get this off. I'm sure there's some instructions involved.
Maybe we'll just have to show that in the B-roll.
Yeah, we'll figure that out later. But let's kind of go over what they included in the baggie here. So, a bunch of parts. So the first one they included is just their basic USB port to 2.1mm DC plug jack adapter for using with a standard USB charger. And then they also included some, looks like they included some surface mount LEDs in here, depending on what you want. Now, one thing I remember seeing in their instructional, I would say, like their infographic that they have posted up, is the LEDs on this saber can be set up a multitude of different ways. So, example, a lot of the LEDs are going to come out of these slots right here, and they can be either set up for NeoPixel, straight regular LEDs, or RGB surface mount LEDs. Now, this saber has actually a lot of LED options. So you're going to have 6 along the side here, 1 for the crystal chamber, and then 1 right here as a sort of like a power level indicator. So we're gonna tinker with this for just a little bit and try and get the core out, and then we'll continue the video. All right, we are back. We had some technical difficulties, but we've got that all situated. So we were able to get the activation plate off. It just took a little bit of extra elbow grease, but yeah, check this out.
Yeah. I like the more 3D effect compared to the older one. Yeah, that one's a little more flat. This one has better ridges to it.
Yeah, they added like a 3D contour down the center that really helps kind of just, your finger just kind of sits in there. It's a lot more comfortable feeling, and the slots are actually curved as opposed to straight on the old saber, on the old big boy. So that's really cool. And then of course they have they go above and beyond. They added their Saberkraft logo, which was actually like CNC'd into the back of this with the race sections, which help lock it in place on here. So now that we got that out, we've removed these 2 screws. Now we're able to pick this part off. And so that is a separate part. And inside it already actually contains the springs. So this part is still springy. And then these little set screws on the side here and here actually act as the switch plungers, but we'll get into that in a second here. So as soon as you take off that cover piece, there's another insert that controls the kill switch, and that's also another piece machined of solid copper. And now we're able to pull the entire core out, and so we'll be able to check this thing out. So really just insanely well designed, man. Just check that out.
Yeah, I love all the detail work that they did on this. It's like, even up here, those little notches next to the emitter and all the extra detail.
Yeah, they added in their brass rod or brass tubing on the side here, and then the use of brass, the aluminum here, and then the copper. I mean, it really just helps break up the color. So first thing to notice is that the heatsink is integrated into the chassis. So this screws off, and the one thing that they did with this design is they made it so that you could use your standard tri-crease setups, your LED stars, or your NeoPixel, and they included a plastic machined NeoPixel PCB adapter. So you place that in there, place that over it, and then you lock it down and you're ready to rock and roll with NeoPixel. Now there's obviously a lot more going on. They've integrated their wire channels to go down through here, so I'm going to remove these screws. It's held on by, it appears, 4 small Phillips screws. I couldn't find a Phillips, so I had to use a flathead. So, improvise, adapt, and overcome when you can't find something.
And when you can't, duct tape.
Yep. Duct tape for things that move and... Wait, how's that work?
WD-40 for things that are supposed to move, duct tape for the things that are not supposed to move.
Yep. Alright, so we got that off. And that comes off.
Exposing the crystal.
Yep, so our wire channels come through the PCB right here. And so one thing that they have 2 different PCBs. So depending on the type of soundboard you're using and the type of setup, a lot of that information is listed on their infographic. So that that'll have more information on it. And so we'll set that aside. And then here is where they have a lot more internal stuff going on. So we have another PCB, followed by another PCB. So this is really quite a complex setup. And then you have your crystal holder, which is retained by a set screw right here. And then, trying to get this little guy out. There we go. So this is a guide for the NeoPixels. So if you have like a NeoPixel strip right here, this fits right in it. And there you go. So it'll hold the NeoPixel LEDs. And then down here we have even another, it looks like another PCB, which looks a little bit more difficult to get out. So we'll leave that in there so I don't break anything. And so yeah, I mean, there you go. I mean, obviously we could probably tear it down even more and stand here for like another half hour just taking this thing apart. But all in all, it seems like a pretty intermediate build, so it will take a little bit of skill just to kind of get used to how it goes together, routing your wires. There's going to be a little bit of cram fu needed, but in the end, all of the design implements that they have used for this saber, it is all going to come together for quite an amazing kit. So, I mean, what do you think, man? Like,
I don't know. I think like the finished product that they put out is really nice. It's like very little work that has to be done by the person building it to get your final product. I mean, yeah. Like even down here, there's pads and whatnot for your soundboard and all your
everything you would need.
Everything you would need,
pretty much. And then yeah. So another thing that they have included are little tiny insert pieces, which I don't exactly know what they go to quite yet. Obviously we've got a pretty big kit, so it's going to be some trial and error. So we're going to throw this thing back together and we'll take some close-up glams, and that'll probably pretty much wrap up the video. So let's figure out how to put this thing back together. So, with that being said, we pretty much wrapped up this video. I want to give another shout out to Acme Sabers, Jeremy Hall at Acme Sabers. He's going to be having a video, an unboxing video coming out, as well as Shamim with Shamim's Customization Services. Shamim's Saber. Okay, Shamim's Saber Customization Services. So, Shamim Saber Customization Services. I mean, now going over it, just kind of final thoughts, there's definitely a lot of areas on the Saber where you're going to be able to do some customization. Like, I'm looking in the crystal chamber, in the fins, there are very small holes for you to be able to, like, put some brass or copper rod to add some more details. Obviously, there's, like at the top of the crystal chamber, there's going to be areas to machine additional details to add in there. Coloring details, you'll be able to do that. It's a very well thought out design. I'm really impressed. The one thing that I'm not really liking as much is the lower grip design. I think it's a really cool design, but with my taste, I feel like it needs just a little something more. And I also think it kind of ends a little bit soon in this for how long it is. So maybe I'll machine a custom piece. I don't know. It's up in the air at this point. But what do you think, Sean?
Yeah, I agree with you about the grip section, because you have a lot going on down here and then have a very little space down there. So I would almost, if it was me, I would probably like extend this and maybe like, I don't know, some texture here for better actual gripping.
Yeah. Because we have a lot of color separation from the different metals, the brass, the copper. Yeah. I feel adding maybe some black rubber grips at various different lengths would really help kind of give it an exotic look. So that might be something I might consider as well. But overall, I mean, Saberkraft definitely outdid themselves this time with the design. So in depth, so many different configurations and install possibilities. So it truly is fantastic. So
yeah, it really is.
Yeah. So next video I'll be doing is a little bit more in depth. So I'm going to tinker around with the Saber, and I'll do a solo video and just kind of go over various configuration setups, stuff like that. But anyways, huge shout out to Sean for joining me on the video, so thank you very much. He actually brought the camera out, so this is my first 4K video, so that's really nice. And we also got some new editing software, so we'll tinker around with that. And yeah, so anyways, guys, this is Justin with Vanguard Armory signing off. May the Force be with you.